Hey guys, it's Chris from Double Eagle Gunworks, and we're doing some traveling today. And when you're traveling with your CWP, you want to make sure that the states that you're going to have reciprocal agreements with your home state where you have your CWP. And since I'm from South Carolina, we're traveling today, just went through North Carolina, entering into Tennessee, and then tomorrow we'll be going to Arkansas and then on into Oklahoma. And all of those states have reciprocal agreements with South Carolina. So if you have a CWP in South Carolina, then it is reciprocal with North Carolina, Tennessee, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. And there's a lot of other states we have reciprocal agreements with. And one way to check that is if you're a member of the USCCA, you can use their app, and it shows you if you put in your state where you have your CWP, then it will show you all the states that have reciprocal agreements with your home state, so that you can travel through those states and not worry about what you're supposed to do with your gun. Now, the gun laws vary from state to state as far as what you need to do, like if you're in a traffic stop or if you have a problem on the road and you have an interaction with the police. So you need to know the differences between the laws of the state that you live in and then the states that you're traveling to. That's another thing that app will help you do, is it'll show you the differences between the states and what you need to know as far as how to carry the gun, where you can carry it, and then when you're in your car, where you need to have the gun, whether it be on you or in the console. So always check and make sure you know the laws of the states that you're going to, so that you don't get yourself in trouble while you're traveling. But as long as you're going through states that are reciprocal to your home state, you at least know that you can carry in those states, but you just need to check out the laws and make sure that you're up on what you're supposed to do as far as where you can carry, like into a restaurant or any other businesses like that, what their signage is supposed to look like, telling you whether you can or can't carry into those areas. So just do your homework and make sure that you cover all your bases and that you know what you can and can't do while you're on the road. We're gonna stop here at the Bass Pro Shop near Sevierville, Tennessee, and see what kind of inventory they've got left. With all the stuff going on, they may or may not have anything. Traveling right now in the climate that we're in, you want to be careful of the places that you go to, especially when you're carrying. You want to really pay attention to your surroundings, develop your situational awareness, and so that you can have a little more warning about the stuff that's coming down the pike at you. You want to be able to pick up on people's behavior, about what they're doing, if they're acting out of the ordinary of the other people around them. If you're stopped at a rest area or a truck stop or just a restaurant, you want to observe the people there, and if anybody's acting a lot different than the other folks around there, then keep a particular eye on that person, because they may have some nefarious thoughts running through their head, wanting to try to do something, especially in the areas where everybody has to wear a mask. It's hard to tell exactly what people are thinking when you can't see half their face, when their facial expressions. You don't need to be paranoid when you go into places, because that will make you stand out, because you want to be able to blend in. And the whole point of concealed carry is for people not to know that you're carrying. So you don't want to make yourself stand out by you acting weird as well. But just keep an eye on people, and if you're somewhere where the weather's warm and most everybody's wearing shorts and t-shirts, and somebody comes in wearing a long coat, then keep an eye on them. And when you're stopped at a restaurant or somewhere, always know where your exits are for that restaurant or the place that you're at. Know how to get out of that store if something goes down. And when you're seated at a restaurant, keep your back to where you can see the majority of the stuff that's going around. Don't sit with your back to the door, so if somebody comes in, you won't be able to see them until they get further around. And just develop that situational awareness so that you can protect yourself and your family while you're traveling, and you can get a better idea of what's coming at you by keeping yourself alert. So when you're walking through stores, don't be looking down at your cell phone or paying attention to some other electronic device. Keep your eyes up, looking around the area, and make sure you know what's going on. Hey guys, just a little quick update here. We are in West Memphis, Arkansas now. Just got to the Welcome Center here. You can see it in the background back there. And when you're traveling and you're stopping at rest areas, check the state law that you're traveling through there and make sure that it is legal for you to carry in the buildings. In South Carolina, it's legal to carry in rest stops, and I'm pretty sure on most of the other states it is as well, but always double check that before you go into a rest area when you're carrying your firearm. We made it out here to Oklahoma, and if you look to my left here, this is one of the storm shelters that the people out in Oklahoma tend to use around their houses because they get a bunch of tornadoes out here. We're staying with my sister-in-law, and their house has been hit at least once. If you're staying at someone's house, or when you go to someone's house with the CWP, it's best if you ask the person if it's okay with them if you carry, and it's also in the law that you need to ask it to carry in someone else's house. We're talking about the ammunition, and it was short in supply with when we stopped at Bud's Gun Shop and Bass Pro Shop there in Sevierville. And the reason that ammunition is so short right now is because the manufacturers can't keep up with the demand with everything going on in the communities and in bigger cities and in the country in general. There's a lot of uneasiness around the country, so people are realizing that maybe I should get a gun. So everybody's gone out and bought guns, so guns are in really short supply. As far as handguns go, it's hard to find them, and ammunition is the same way. There's a lot of shortages out there for standard handgun ammunition, your 38 Special, 357, 9mm, 45s. So when you're able to find some, you probably want to stock up and keep it for not necessarily a rainy day, but keep it for a situation where you might need it and can't get to it when you're in a situation like we got right now, where there's an ammunition shortage and the manufacturers hadn't been able to keep up with the increased demand, and also with the decreased workforce that a lot of the manufacturers are having at their facilities because of the virus that's going around, and people are staying out of work because of that. Stimulus package that people were getting extra money for not going to work, so that's just caused a lot of backlog in supply in all different types of industries, not just the gun industry, but everything is affected by that. Have your mugshot taken? We're still traveling out in Oklahoma right now, and we just went in a mall, and when you're traveling, or even while you're at home with your CWP, check the doors of the stores that you're going into, and check the laws of the area that you're in to see what their regulations are as far as carrying while you're in a store. Those stores back in South Carolina are supposed to be marked with signs of a particular size and design to let you know whether or not you can carry in the stores. But other states, you got to check their laws and see what the proper signage is supposed to look like when you're going into the store, so you'll know what to look for if you're not able to carry in those areas. Update on the ammo that we were looking for the other day. We had stopped at Bass Pro Shops over in Sevierville, and they didn't have a whole lot of handgun ammo left at all. They only had a few boxes of sizes that weren't really that popular as far as defensive handgun ammo or even practice ammo. Didn't have any 38 special, 45 or 9mm ammo at all there in the stores. So we went to a couple of other places while we were there in Sevierville. Checked out Smoky Mountain Knife Works. They didn't have any handgun ammo at all, other than like a few oddball sizes. And then checked Bud's gun shop over just right around the corner from Smoky Mountain, and they did have some ammo, but they were limiting you to one box per caliber. So they had a few, but still you weren't able to get as much as you would want to, but you could get one or two boxes of different calibers while you were there. The hotels, when you're traveling as well, you want to check the rules for the state, but also you need to check with the hotel itself and see if they have any signage saying anything about not being able to carry while you're in the hotel. Some hotels may try to limit whether you can carry in the hotel or not. Once you're in the room, you still have your castle doctrine that would take effect in all the states that we've traveled through, which is Tennessee, North Carolina, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. They all have reciprocal agreements with South Carolina, and their laws are very similar to the ones that you would find in South Carolina. But just check the little nuances of each law and make sure that you're covered when you go into the different areas. Okay, one final thing that you want to think about when you're traveling with your gun is if you're going to be flying, then there's lots of different rules that you have to follow when you're traveling with a gun. If you're just going to the airport to pick up somebody or to drop somebody off, you can carry the gun up to the secure check-in area, but once you get to that secure check-in area, that's as far as you can go if you got the gun on you. Most of the time that's as far as you can go if you're not getting on the plane anyway. If you're going to be actually flying somewhere, then there are rules that the different airlines make you follow to be able to carry the gun, and it's usually in your bag that's checked in luggage rather than carry-on bags. And there's rules about the gun and the ammunition being in separate places. So always check with the airlines and see what their specific rules are as to what you can do and how you need to check the gun in, and just be careful that you do everything like you're supposed to so that you don't have any problems when you get to the airport with them checking your bags in or finding the gun in there. And if you hadn't told them about it, always make sure that you do all the proper steps and the proper paperwork that you need to with the airlines to make sure that you can travel safely with the guns. We've talked about going in restaurants with the gun. We've talked about roadside rest areas, hotels, airports as well, and also staying in other people's houses or when you visit other people. Check the laws of the states that you're traveling to and see if they are reciprocal with your home state as far as your CWP is concerned. And if they are, then check the laws of those states so that you know what the differences are between your home state and the state that you're traveling to, so that you make sure that you stay on the right side of the laws there where you're going to. So everybody stay safe. I hope you have safe travels. See you next time.